Good evening. Uh, Today we are going to have a lecture on the heritage of prehistoric era. First, I will ask Professor Mandavala, P.B. Mandavala, to introduce the speaker. Professor Mandavala is a trustee and a former Director General of the Archaeology Department of the Central Government, and also former professor at University of Sri Lanka. So over to Professor Mandavala.
Okay. Good evening to everyone who was present. Well, I am much privileged to introduce Dr. Shan Vedage because I met him in, I think, somewhere around 2002, when I was appointed as the senior lecturer in the Sri Lanka University from the Director Development post which I held in Central Cultural Fund. So he was a student of mine, and he was a very active student. And then I went there, I found that he is also studied in one of the schools which I attended, that is Thurston College. That's my fifth school, actually. Then sixth school was Ananda. So he was actually a colleague of mine in the school. He was a very active student. And he was organizing almost all the events in our department also. The welcoming parties and going down parties and everything, and also felicitating the lecturers also. But he did a little mistake because when he was doing the final research under me, just before the day that he has to submit the first presentation, he came to me and my house, and with those days no laptops were available, maybe available, but he brought the PC desktop, and then he showed me the presentation. I said, if you do that presentation, you will lose marks because it was long and it was not keeping to the time. But he didn't took my advice and did the presentation, and he lost the marks also. So anyway, he learned a lesson from that. He always tells that to all our students at the moment also during presentations. Then because of his organizing powers, we had we organized a World Monument Fund workshop or a seminar. Then actually, Pali Vijayaratna was the president. I was the senior vice president. So I handed over all the ushering and organizing everything to him. He did a marvelous job. Then after that, after he graduated, because of his things that he takes everything, all the challenges, he was the only one who selected to the Department of Archaeology to take up the the supervisory post of the archaeological research officer's post from that batch, because there were about 3 or 4 batches who were remaining without jobs. But after the interview, he is the only one who was selected to archaeology department from the latest batch. Then he was very fortunate to be in the excavation section, and also he was very fortunate to have his training under late Dr. Siran Daraniyagala. So because of that, you can see, you will witness what he has done over the years, and this particular lecture today is going to deliver also based on this research he did under the footprint of the Dr. Siran Daraniyagala. So as I was given this, I don't know, long one, so he obtained his honors, BA honors in archaeology from the University of Sri Lanka, and then while in the Department of Archaeology, he was fortunate to do his MSc from Deccan College of Postgraduate Institute of Archaeology in Pune, India. So his MSc was also related to the stratigraphical analysis of Fa-Hien cave in Sri Lanka, comparing the stratigraphical excavations in 1988 and 2009. So it is in the lowest lowland Western rainforest in Western province. Then he did his PhD in Max Planck's Institute of Science, Human History, Jena, Germany, between 2017 and 2020, and obtained his PhD. Before that, actually, while he was working, I think reading his PhD, if I remember correct, he approached me and asked whether he could join the academic panel of the University of Sri Lanka, because as I was the head of the department. I said, okay, of course you could, but you have to face the interview. So we called applications. So he faced the interview, and I was the head of the department. I had a lot of say, but all the vice chancellor and all the council members, everyone agreed that we should take him to the academic community in the department, because we saw that through him there is a lot of potential that our students will get benefited. So he was recruited. So he left the Department of Archaeology, although he had an opportunity to get a pension also, because he was in the department, but he left and came and joined the university when I was the head of the department. Well, he has done a lot of research excavations, about 25 years, including Fa-Hien and Kitulgala caves, Boondala, Patirajawala open air site. So all those things were supervised, as I told you, by late Dr. Siran Dharaniyagala. So there are a lot of excavations he has done. And he did face a lot of problems also because of various things. Always when he comes to he faces a problem, he give me a call, and sometimes he has to reply to various queries made by from the top, from the president and downwards. So always he telephone me and write the letters and send it for me for correction. And so he has faced a lot of although he is doing these type of research, there were a lot of things that he has to face, because of there are in the archaeology also you see that there are a lot of people who do not like that young researchers come above some of the researchers or well-known archaeologists. So anyway, he has survived that. Recently also he, when I went there, he got a letter from the Ministry or Department of Archaeology, and he wanted me to see what he wrote as a reply. Anyway, those are things that you will see when a young person is working. Anyway, he worked his, when he was very fortunate to, when he is reading for his master's, he worked under the Professor V.S. Shendi, eminent archaeologist we always regard. He is one of the eminent architects in India. So he was fortunate to work under him. Then he also did a lot of work with the University of Oxford also, with Professor Michael Petrigal. And then he did join the Oxford University excavation group also, worked in various projects, Green Arabia, out of then exploring out of Africa theory and various things. And then now he is a senior lecturer in the our university, University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, Department of Archaeology. And also he has been appointed recently as the director in charge of archaeology, consultant director of the Uva province of the Central Cultural Fund also. And he has published a lot of the articles, books and things in internationally recognized journals. And it's a very, I am very privileged to inform you that he has been awarded the President Award for 4 times from the government of Sri Lanka because of his scientific research, and also from the university, the Young Scientist Award from our university. So he is now well-known archaeologist, and he is always has done his work on research, and also now he is also taking up some of my lectures also, which I am not in this research archaeology or planning, implementation and things like that. He is asking me, and also doing some conservation lectures, and also archaeological heritage management lectures also. So apart from the research, now he is moving into this field because he thinks that in future he would will get an opportunity to manage the archaeological heritage of this Sri Lanka. So it's good luck for him, and I invite him to deliver his lecture. I hope that it will be a very the interesting, and then there will be a lot of facts that he will put in front of you, and then after that I am sure that you will have a lot of queries also. Thank you very much. So I invite Dr. Oshan Wedege to deliver his lecture.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Of course, as Professor Mandavala said, I would say like this, 2004, 2004 මම ගියා සර්ගේ ගාවට ඩෙස්ක්ටොප් එකක් අරගෙන ඔෂාන් මෙහෙම නම් ඔයාලට කවදාවත් ඔයාට ඔයාගේ තීසිස් එක කරලා ඉවර කරගන්න බැරි වේවි කියලා කිව්වා. I'm really sorry. I'll back to English. No worries. ඒ වෙලාවේ ඔව් මට ඇත්තටම මගේ ගෝල්ඩ් මෙඩල් එක මට නැති වුණා. හැබැයි මම ෆීල්ඩ් එකේ තාම ඉන්නවා. Thank you very much, sir. So far you drew me. Thank you very much. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Yep. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your participation for my presentation today. First, I would like to express my, one second. I would like to express my gratitude to the National Trust for giving me the opportunity to deliver this lecture. I'm also deeply thankful to all the members of the trust, including the chairman who worked hard for this, to organize this lecture. Also, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to my teacher, my guide, Professor Mandavala, who coordinated this event and made my presence here today. I am moving to my topic. My topic is new investigations into the late Pleistocene and early Holocene rainforest prehistory of Sri Lanka. Is it okay now? I'm a little bit moving, so maybe that is why. So my topic is new investigations into the late Pleistocene and early Holocene rainforest prehistory of Sri Lanka. So this is the outline today I'm going to discuss with you all. I'll first highlight the background of my research and the main archaeological questions I wanted to address with this work. Before moving on to my methods and 2 case studies in my topic, excavations at 2 late Pleistocene to Holocene archaeological sites in Sri Lanka, I will conclude with a broader discussions of the relevance of this work. So, under the introduction, I hope you have seen this map before. Big questions remain with regards to the when, how, and why of Homo sapiens movement out of Africa and into Eurasia. With respect to the so-called southern route of dispersal, prominent theories have focused on a rapid coastal movement with humans carrying uniform technologies out of Africa between 60 to 45,000 years ago, reaching rapidly to Australia. Yet, recent findings have suggested there were actually multiple routes at different timings. Amazingly, despite its crucial location in the center of the Indian Ocean, Sri Lanka has often been left out of this discussion. Major debates also exist in relation to the environments occupied by our species as it's moved along these routes. In the 1980s, anthropologists, archaeologists, and ecologists suggested Pleistocene human population could not have occupied tropical rainforest environments. These were seen as green deserts due to lack of large protein or reliable carbohydrate. Of course, within this rainforest, previously when they got entered to the Sri Lankan coastal belt or within the island, they entered to the Sri Lankan coastal areas. They settled within the coastal belt first. Within that area, they found lots of megafauna, rich proteins, but when they got entered to the green deserts areas, meanwhile, to the rainforest, they don't have large protein sources or reliable carbohydrate. However, a number of Pleistocene sites have recently emerged in modern rainforest contexts, including Sri Lanka seen as number 26 in this map. So as can be seen here, excavations in Sri Lanka started in 1970s and 1980s, provided evidence for 3 Pleistocene sites that seems to recorded the earliest appearance of humans on the island. Amazingly, these were all located in the southwestern wet zone in an area covered by tropical lowland rainforest today. However, much of this works began by P.P. Dharaniyagala and later his son, my teacher, my guru, my advisor, Dr. Shiran Upendra Dharaniyagala, was not taken up in the wider international literature. Provisional radiocarbon dating of these 3 sites provided the following uncalibrated age ranges according to Dr. Shiran Dharaniyagala's and another Sri Lankan pioneer archaeologist, Dr. Vijaypala's thesis. However, dated using all methodologies and no chronological models or calibrations were performed. During 1970s and 1980s, they've excavated Fa-Hien, so Beli-lena, Fa-Hien, and Kitulgala. During that time, Beli-lena dated back to 28,000, Fa-Hien goes back to 33,000, and Beli-lena dated to 25,000 years. Would like to move to the previous stratigraphy. So this sequence, the sequence of 2 sites, Fa-Hien and Kitulgala Beli-lena, can be seen here. Both sites were found to have good stratigraphy with no evidence for date reversals or reworking. At Fa-Hien, a series of human skeletons and bone tools were discovered, making them the oldest of their kind in South Asia within our region. Here you can see both the stratigraphy, Beli-lena and Fa-Hien. Within the Fa-Hien excavation during 1970s, Dr. Vijaypala identified 6 stratas, including bedrock, and Kitulgala, there were around 13 stratas. We'll see how it's happening during my time period. Moving to Beli-lena cave excavation. However, there was no multidisciplinary approach at that time during 1970s and 1980s when Dr. Daranegala and Dr. Vijaypala involved into this excavation, no sophisticated chronological analysis. This made it difficult to explore the exact timing and nature of occupation of these sites, as well as the environmental context in the past. Recent renewed work at Beli-lena by Dr. Nimal Pereira, I think you all know him, former Deputy Director General of Archaeology, and when I was digging at Fa-Hien, he was the Director of the Department of Excavation Division. Shows what can be done with the latest methods. Of course, he is the one who introduced multidisciplinary approach to Sri Lankan prehistoric era. During Dr. Daranegala's and Dr. Vijaypala's period, of course, they used the traditional technologies and methods, whatever available at that time. But during new millennia, Dr. Nimal Pereira introduced a multidisciplinary approach to the Sri Lankan prehistory. So, shows methods pushing back the ages further and providing exciting insight into the subsistence strategies of the earlier Sri Lankan foragers, but not yet done for these other two crucial sites. It was applied to Beli-lena, but it did not for both the site, both important sites, Fa-Hien and Beli-lena. So, which leads me to my own work. In my research, I have undertaken renowned work at the sites of Fa-Hien and Kitulgala Beli-lena, from excavation to post-excavation analysis to test two main questions. I would then swap what you have on the slide 2. How have hunter-gatherer populations in Sri Lanka responded to environmental changes in tropical rainforest ecologies from late Pleistocene to early Holocene, and was there a continuity of human presence and behavior from 46,000 to 3,000 years ago? These are my main research questions throughout my research. Okay, during my research, same as Dr. Nimal Pereira, me myself also tried to use modern day technology. I applied multidisciplinary approach to my research. During my modern methods and technology, this slide shows the latest methods being used to get as much as information as possible from the sites. Includes electronic recordings of stratigraphic logs, micromorphology, and total station plotting of findings and context to increase accuracy and resolution of understanding of the sites. Also, flotation to search for leftover botanical remains, and detailed archaeozoological analysis to explore the animals being hunted. Also, lithic and other material culture analysis, which has not been systematically done to a large degree in Sri Lanka. During radiocarbon analysis, also latest datum approaches are used. A-box pretreatment has been shown to remove contamination in tropical settings, pushing Pleistocene ages back in areas such as Borneo. Dating of short-lived material to increase precisions and avoid the all-wood effort. Basin methodologies and calibrations to improve understanding of sequence and search for reversals or outliers. Okay, these are the introduction part. Now I would like to move to my case studies, moving to the first of two case studies. Fa-Hien cave, where claim had been made for the earliest human fossil, earliest bone tools, and earliest microlithics in Sri Lanka, excavation undertaken in 2012. Of course, this excavation happened during 2012, but I would say first we started around 2009. At that time, Dr. Nimal Pereira was the director of excavation branch section, and whole excavation was supervised, advised by Dr. Shiran Upendra Daranegala. Here you can see the location of the trench. Excavation carried out under a small rock shelter overhang. Same trench and location as in Vijaypala's thesis, where remarkable findings were previously recorded. So you can see during 1980s, Dr. Vijaypal excavated more than 24 squares. But during my excavation, I excavated only 1 by 3 meter area, because during my excavation, we used as much as new technology, modern methodologies to grab information and material. So moving to the 2012 stratigraphy, you can see 30 dates in total from 48,000 years ago to 3,000 years ago. Rock folds protected the oldest layers where previously human remains were found, and we found further microlith and bone tools. Really interesting. No reversals in chronology when stratigraphy is taken into account. No evidence for burrowing or termite activities. However, there is a gap in the sequence between 34,000 years ago to 13,000 years ago. So when we are focusing to our attention to this stratigraphy, there is a huge gap from in between 34,000 to 13,000. We'll discuss later why this happened. Anyhow, you can see during Dr. Vijaypala's thesis, it was recorded only 6 stratas, including bedrock. During my excavation, I identified more than 254 stratas. It's mean as much as I can, I applied modern technologies, methods, and try to grab each and every single activities which was done by prehistoric people. Moving to the animal taxa identifications, semi-arboreal mammals such as giant squirrels or monkeys make up between 70 to 80% of the assemblage, all the way through lizards and fish from nearby stream also being exploited. Some subtle changes, large mammals such as deer increase in the mid-Holocene relative to other periods. So this slide shows to you remarkable information which we identified during my research. So previously, as we discussed, when modern human, our species, they entered to the Sri Lankan coastal, they deal with, they hunted, they had megafauna, but when they march towards to the inland, they don't have the megafauna or the previous protein, full with protein, those foods totally not available within the rainforest canopy. So within the rainforest, they totally change their way of pattern life, and they newly started and adapted to the rainforest environment, and they started with small and medium-sized animal. Throughout this, this slide shows to you, more than 70 to 80% whatever they ate, small and medium-sized animals. Very small number of megafauna was recorded. So moving to the bone tool technology, seems to have been hunted using bone points. My paper in Nature Communication showed how bone points were made from the very animals they were used to hunt, used in projectile technologies to hunt these fast prey. So this is also really interesting. We can discuss within the discussion. So during the coastal belt, during the the grassland areas, they totally used Middle Paleolithic tool technology, toolkit, but when they got entered to the rainforest settings, green canopy, the Middle Paleolithic toolkits almost useless. So therefore, they newly developed, they newly built it up new toolkit which is helpful to hunt or kill these fast moving prey. So therefore, they totally changed their toolkits also within rainforest. Now I'm moving to microlithic technology. I identified around 9,000 lithic artifacts, out of them 1,200 flakes, 25 bladelets, and 3 clear tools recorded. Most of these tools were dominated by bipolar and anvil method. Milky and crystal quartz used as raw materials. Main raw materials, recorded flake are not longer than 10 to 20 millimeter in length. Very small lithics. This is really important because there is no clear technological changes throughout the sequence. When we are focusing our attention to the Fa-Hien lithic assemblage, we can see lithics from late Pleistocene to Holocene time period. Throughout these 50,000 years, they don't have any technological change because they used bipolar and anvil method. Only available raw material is in Sri Lanka, it's quartz. To reduce the quartz nodules, that is the only possible methods which whatever we can understand within our context. This is the only possible method we can produce lithics artifacts within this context. Moving to symbolic material culture, also worked with specialist Michelle Langley in Australia to look at symbolic material culture. Found remains of ochre, perhaps using for decoration. Also some of the first ochre beads found in Pleistocene context in Asia. You can see there is a ochre bead. This is the one, number H. So this is the first ever recorded ochre bead in our context. Also shell beads, some from freshwater shells, but some from marine shells. Remarkable findings in rainforest context. These are the information which belongs to Fa-Hien, and I'm moving to Kitulgala, Beli-lena. Moving to my second case study, Kitulgala, Beli-lena, traditionally grouped with Fa-Hien lena and Batadomba lena, also includes human fossils and microlithic adaptation. However, often overlooked as radiocarbon dates proved to be much later, and there has been a lack of multidisciplinary research to see how adaptations compare with those of the other sites. Undertook new excavation and then post-excavation analysis. Then post-excavation analysis in 2017. During 2017 also, Dr. Shiran Daraniagala helped me, and he was right behind me throughout the research. Moving to the 2017 stratigraphy, as at Fa-Hien lena, the dates became older now. Now 13 dates ranging from 44,000 to 5,000 years ago. Previously it was dates back to 25,000 years old. Based on my research, now it is updated until 45,000. Again, no reversals, no problem, not at all, or evidence for reworking or borrowing. Remaining a gap, same as Fa-Hien, between 33,000 to 17,000 years ago. We can discuss later. Moving to the bone tool technology, same bone point seen as Fa-Hien lena. Once again linked to the hunting of arboreal and semi-arboreal prey with some subtle fluctuations in the number of large mammals, reptiles, and fish exploited throughout. Should be noted that in the portion of the site we excavated, fauna was only available from the Holocene layers. Here you can see the brown color layers, the lowermost strata, all belongs to the late Pleistocene to terminal Pleistocene. So we didn't found any faunal information. Upmost, it was fully and really rich with the faunal information. So during the microlithic technological analysis, more than 15,000 lithic artifacts were identified, and the tool technology was mostly dominated by bipolar and anvil method. Same as Fa-Hien, the methodology, the technique which they used to reduce the lithics, same. Bipolar anvil, but within Kitulgala, it was slightly reported freehand napping. Most prominent raw material was quartz, and the recorded flakes are not longer than 20 to 30 millimeter in length. The Kitulgala lithics are a little bit bigger than 10 millimeter in size, little bit bigger than Fa-Hien lithics. Long-term technological stability from the late Pleistocene to the early Holocene is a hallmark of the assemblage. So here are the information which belongs to my second case study. Now I would like to move to my discussion. The results presented not only dramatically improve our understanding of these two important sites, they also have wider relevance for Sri Lankan and South Asian archaeology, as well as global studies of Pleistocene human migrations and adaptation. Now you can see all three chronologies are together with. Here you can see Beli-lena, Fa-Hien and Beli-lena. Of course, Beli-lena updated by Dr. Nimal Pereira during 2005. It was dated back to 28,000, but Dr. Nimal Pereira updated until 36,000. Fa-Hien cave also updated to 48,000, and you can see Beli-lena. All three important cave sites have now had their chronologies updated, and the ages have been extended. Shows importance of A-box methods in extending chronologies in the tropical and removing contaminations. Kitulgala Beli-lena is also now older than Beli-lena, allowing us a better understanding of how these sites were occupied on a landscape basis. Would like to show some basins models. Radiocarbon chronologies for Fa-Hien and Kitulgala Beli-lena show no reversals with consistent sequence, calibrated using the Oxcal methods and with the advice leading specialist in radiocarbon dating at Oxford University. Here I would mention Professor Tom Heim and Katharina Duker. They helped me a lot during radiocarbon dating. Gaps at Fa-Hien and Kitulgala sequence remaining interesting. Are there real gaps in occupation over the last glacial maximum period? Interesting, as Beli-lena is occupied at this time. You can see during Fa-Hien there is a huge gap, and at the same time there is a gap within the Kitulgala. Of course, we identified that gap which within the Fa-Hien cave. If you can remember, there was a roof falling layer within the stratigraphy when I was showing it. That roof falling layer happened during terminal Pleistocene. This was identified by Professor Ian Simpson and Dr. Nikos, leading geologists who helped me during my research. So this during terminal Pleistocene period, there was heavy rainfall around the Fa-Hien. So due to that heavy rainfall, upmost stratigraphy totally washed out. Because of that roof fallings, lowermost stratigraphy were protected. So that is why we have earliest dates within Fa-Hien cave. Those environmental changes totally washed out during terminal Pleistocene, but nothing happened the lowermost deposit because of that roof falling layer. But there is a small gap within the Kitulgala also. The Kitulgala, the place where I excavated, that is the only portion, because there were multiple sessions during 1970s and 1980s by P.E.P. Dharaniyagala, Shiran Dharaniyagala sir, then Dr. Vijaypala sir. They all excavated Beli-lena. When I moved, I had only one of the corner, very small portion for me. So when I dug there, I excavated only 1 by 2 meter area, very small area. Where I excavated, there is a small gap in between terminal Pleistocene to mid-Holocene, but when we are focusing our attention to the original excavation done by Dr. Vijaypala, there is no gap. Then it is saying the area where I excavated at that time, people are not using that area where I excavated. But of course, the Kitulgala Beli-lena was continuously occupied based on previous dates and informations. I am moving to settlement and subsistence. New dates also make the sites of Fa-Hien cave one of the earliest definite examples of humans living in a rainforest environments anywhere in the world. Alongside work from Beli-lena, we can see how these humans were surviving using rich carbohydrate plants such as carnarium nuts and specializing their hunting in the capturing of monkeys and giant squirrels. Seems they also hunted different monkey species, perhaps regulating population size and shifting as ecological dynamic changed. Moving to the microlithic technology, we have also been able to systematically analyze their technologies, built on the work of Laura Lewis at Beli-lena, one of a student who came from Oxford. She worked under the supervision of Dr. Nimal Pereira, and also me myself used the same technology because she introduced new technologies and new methods to identify the lithics. Me myself also followed the same methods and technologies. Earliest evidence for so-called microlithic technology outside of Africa, using local quartz as the basis of raw material and bipolar flaking with freehand napping. Technological stability through the sequence. Significantly, overseas technologies show clear evidence for use of projectile technology, impact fractures, and reduction sequence to clear points. We argued in a recent Science Advance article that it is the earliest bow and arrow technology outside of Africa in a rainforest settings, provides a new take on when and why this technology was developed. As I mentioned, we all know our species, modern human, first they settled within the Sri Lankan coastal areas, coastal belt. But due to many reasons, could be climates, sea level changes, power, they march towards to the inland. So when they enter to the inland, they found new environmental settings. Within these environmental settings, they had to develop new weapon or new tool technology to hunt medium and small size animals. They are really fast. We cannot be close to them. So to hunt these fast moving animals, they develop bow and arrow technology. You should remember one thing, still our indigenous population, they are the only population in our context who are using bow and arrow technology. They are the ancestors of our prehistoric people. So these are some evidence. So these bow and arrow technology started during late Pleistocene within the under the rainforest canopy. Okay. Moving to symbolic, social and symbolic technologies, also remarkable record of more symbolic material culture in a rainforest context. All like technologies used for making fiber and perhaps clothing. This is the very first time we are having information about owl technology. We know they all entered to the rainforest. Within this rainforest, there are lots of insects, bloodsuckers, lots of climate changes. So therefore, they develop clothes. This is the very first time we are having this information within the rainforest settings. We know in our history, so when King Vijaya arriving to Tambapanni, Queen is Kapukatimin. So this can't be Arumayak. Arumayak වෙන්න බෑ මේවා. මේවා තමයි past එකේ අපිට හම්බ වෙච්ච examples. Anyhow, so red and yellow ochre used in personal ornamentation, application to bodies, documents elsewhere. So these are the first and earliest information belongs to the beauty culture or face painting or whatever. Beads made on freshwater and marine shells suggests a relationship with foragers living on the coast from this early period of occupation. We know, so some of the people march towards the green canopy, to the rainforest, but some of the ancestors or relatives still living next to the coastal area. So they knew our people is still next to the coast. What they did, they exchanged. So that is why we are having shark teeth, shell beads within rainforest canopy. At the same time, when I was excavating mini atelier under the supervision of Dr. Nimal Pereira, we are having akevas, some of the special shells which belongs to the rainforest context. Then you can argue, so what happened, Roshan? Was there a climate change or were they migrated? No, they knew each other. When they got entered to the rainforest, their ancestors or relatives is still right next to the coastal areas. That's why. Okay. More broadly, these Sri Lankan sites are adding to our understanding that the dispersal of Homo sapiens is not linked to a single environmental adaptation to coast or grasslands. Instead, our species is perhaps best defined by its flexibility to adapt to even the most extreme environments. Late Pleistocene records are now showing evidence for Homo sapiens in high latitude, deserts, tropicals, and within Paleo-Arctic and within Sri Lanka in tropical rainforest canopies. So here are my key results, what I want to present to you. In doing so, this also suggested that some of the classic hallmark of our species, as an example, bow and arrow technology, microlithics, are best seen as part of plastic toolkit that were variously innovated and used in different contexts and time periods by our species. To conclude my talk, I hope to now have well and truly put Sri Lanka on the map with the earliest reported bow and arrow technology outside Africa, the earliest microlithic technology in South Asia, and early record of heavy reliance on rainforest outside of Africa. So these are the key results which I observed throughout my research. I would like to thank all of these institutions for their support during my research, as well as all of the kind and fantastic people that have made my experience an incredible renowned one. Thank you very much, and looking forward to your questions. Sure.
Okay. Thank you. It's working. Lights. Can we have the lights? Okay. Thank you very much for that very interesting lecture. I think lots of new ideas, new knowledge. I think you will have a lot of queries, clarifications, questions. So now it's time for those questions. Mike?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much, Dr. Carvin. Am I correct, Dr. Carvin? Yes. Of course. During Middle Paleolithic time period, they used little bit big size tools to hunt and megafauna. I mean, we used to say megafauna because at that time, the animal which were around the coastal area quite big size. So they used, I mean, the bigger tools, handheld tools to hunt this sort of animal, but yeah, stones. But when they enter to the rainforest, they don't have, I mean, the lithics which they used so far, useless, because those are quite big. They had to hunt small and medium-sized animal. If you can remember the slide, most of the animals, monkeys and squirrels, so they are really fast-moving animals. We can't be closer. So then they had to develop quite a special or unique tool, weapon. They developed microliths, very small size, 10 to 20 millimeter in size. They they projectiled those tools, and with using a wooden stick, pointed out a bone point or lithic used as a point or tip. Then they used around the arrow, they used small pieces like a Rambo knife. You know, during early 90s when Rambo knife introduced by the movie Rambo, so it's like when we are hitting, it is going to the inside, but it is nothing happened, but when it is coming back, it is harmful, huge damage to the animal. So this is the method which was used by Sri Lankan prehistoric people, prehistoric man. So it is like they mostly used, we used to say the technical word is like lunates. It's triangular in shapes. So one edge, it is going to the arrowhead. So the another triangle shaped portion coming out. So when we are shooting, it is going through the animal. After some time, it is damaging, it is giving a huge damage to the animal and dying the animal. The thing is, how they hafted, they use a special technology. When they produce or develop the microlith, one side it is totally sharp, another side it is totally how can I say, like blinded. I had only one example. They used some sort of raisings, natural raising, tree raising to bond or half with the wood. Only one example I have, because Alison Roth, I forgot to tell about her. She's a botanician. I think once you met. She helped me to do identified. Sri Lankan foragers used tree raisings to bond together with wood and lithics. See, mostly they used bone points as an arrowhead, but around the arrow they fixed lithics like Rambo knife. Cool.
Technology in Africa during that time?
Yes. It was first recorded, it goes back to around 70 to 80,000 years old within the African context. But we thought it is actually these bone points were used to hunt using blowpipe methods. Have you seen about blowpipes, the people who are using around Borneo? We thought this was for blowpipe method, but with the help of Michelle Langley, she is the world's famous specialist about bow and arrow technology. She identified, no, this is not for blowpipe, definitely for bow and arrow methods. Some of the examples, there are some small cut marks, how they used, sometimes they used animal hair or something to tie as a thread. So therefore, definitely they used bow and arrow technology within our country. It was started, within the African context.
So this technology may be brought with the migration.
Yes, yes, because there are two theories. There are two groups arguing. Paul Mellers and his colleagues saying the out of Africa happened around 60,000 years ago. Rapidly it was happened. Very recently there was a news by the Australian government based on rock cuts. They informed and they announced that scientific involvement showed it was happened little earlier. Basically, I'm supporting. My supervisor is Professor Michael Petralia. He's the one who is supporting to early multiple dispersal. So we found lots of information, not only in Sri Lanka or area covered by African context, but also we found some of the information within the African region. We found Homo sapiens information. So therefore, it is clear during migrations, these technological informations came out.
20,000 years, I saw somewhere about a but
Of course, excavation.
At Buttala.
Of course, according to Dr. Darren Eagles, it goes back to 125,000, but his last wish was to re-excavate, to apply new technologies, same as whatever we done for, to Fa-Hien, Kitulgala, and Beli-lena. We applied new technologies with the help of Griffith University and Sydney University. We'll see, the dates are still processing. It will come soon. Maybe I can come and engage with you all with next talk with the Boondala new dates and new arrivals.
So it might come down in the
Sure. There was one burial, goes back to 1,200 years old, but during early 80s excavation, there were 6 burials and I think few secondary burials also recorded. But the burial which I found goes back to 10,200 years old, and was identified by Dr. J. Stock. At that time, he belongs to Cambridge University. And recently he came and he visited us and he gave a nice talk. And he said me, there are the skeletal which we discovered almost close to the African grasslands and indigenous community. Kind of people who belongs to the African indigenous. Interesting. We tried our best. We were not be able to extract DNA, but I have another sort of chocolate for you. Because recently we repatriated 42 skeletons from Switzerland to Sri Lanka, and also I involved when my sir worked as the Director General of Archaeology. We repatriated 7 skeletons from Edinburgh also, based on one of my research. So the recently we repatriated from Switzerland. We used 3 skeletal for DNA research. One of his skull clearly showed, still we did not publish, clearly showed DNA closely linking with African genome, and one it is linking with North Indian. So when we are talking about out of Africa theory, they are moving African region and coming through the Arabian Peninsula. So then they are entering to the modern day Israel, Palestine region. Then they are coming towards to the Thar deserts, and there are some people went across the Western Ghats, but some didn't, who did not go across the Western Ghats. They came down. They are the people who occupied, who came to Sri Lanka. So we have some good evidence. Very near future, you can see the genome. Sir, yeah.
2 questions. One is, so in fact we are all Africans, and all this racial business is a piece of rubbish. Second is, what's the story behind the name Fa-Hien? That sounds like a Chinese name for the one of the 3 caves you were looking at.
Okay, of course. Personally, I would say, of course, we are from Africa, because scientifically we have lots of evidence, not only in Sri Lanka, also from outside Sri Lanka, within the African context, Middle East context, East Asian context. We have lots of information to prove the theory. The second, it is about Fa-Hien. The Fa-Hien mean, during historical period, people used to go to Adams Peak with using one of the road pretty close to the Kaluganga. So historical period, there is another belief, Fa-Hien Thero also, who came to Sri Lanka, Chinese pilgrimer. When he was climbing up to Adams Peak, one day he he rest within the cave, so that is why it was named as Fa-Hien. And when I was studying about that, the Fa-Hien cave, it's like a, Maingama. It's like a Sinhala bindiyama ketana tiyenne Maingama, Paingama, Fa-Hiengama una kelat etana katawak තියෙනවා. Maingama kalutara saha මට මතක විදිහට මතුගම් පැත්තට ඔහම මායිමක් තියෙන්නේ. මායිංගම එකට තව වචනයක් තිබිලා තිනවා පායිම්ගම අර පායිංගම ඊට පස්සේ පසු කාලීනව පාහියංගල වුණා කියලාත් තියෙනවා. ඒක මගේ 2009 report එකේ මම ඒක විස්තර කරලා තියෙනවා. Yes.
I think my question might appear rather amateurish, but just for my curiosity, so there would have been multiple migrations, I believe, right? So this one that you call, which is the earliest one, is the African. But we have also, like if you look at Kerala and our culture, there are lots of
Sure.
common words, etc. So there would have been many migrations after that.
Sure, of course.
Right. So this first migration that you talked about, was it at the time when we were like one continent before it became an island, or is there any evidence to show whether it is like that or any different?
Of course. So, if you are focusing our attentions to the bathymetry data, so when sea level going down within 10 centimeters, definitely Sri Lanka and India, there are no, both of them, both the countries are one land. So we know during LGM period, 20,000 years ago, during Pleistocene, many times it is fluctuating, sometimes it is cool, sometimes it is hot. Every cool time periods, there are no two lands in Sri Lanka or India. There was a one land. During that time period, definitely they entered. So bathymetries showed during last glacial maximum 20,000 years ago, Sri Lanka and India connected. The land bridge, it is around 100 kilometers wide. It is very easy to migrate to the people from there to here or move from here to there. So during that time period, especially late Pleistocene period, because of these sea level fluctuations, it was happened. Not only sea level fluctuation, during Pleistocene period, it was really bad situation. Environmental changes happened within the African continent also. That's why people moved, because they don't have enough foods, they can't be there. So that's why, due to many reasons, they moved towards to the area like ours.
Right. Thank you.
You didn't explain why there was this gap between the
Yeah,
Pleistocene and Holocene.
this is really interesting. 2009 and 2010, with the help of Dr. Nimal Pera and Dr. Daranegala, under the supervision of Dr. Daranegala, what I did, I totally tried to understand previous stratigraphy. One day when I was working at the cave, I was feeling like uncomfortable. I realized one of the ලොකු ස්ලැබ් එකක් තිබ්බා ලොකු ගල් පතුරක් ඒක ෂුවර් නෑ මට අපි ඒක අයින් කරලා බලනකොට අපි identify කරා there were lots of sediments right under that slab. Then we understood there were roof falling layer. 2012 excavation, we identified there was a huge roof falling layer during the terminal Pleistocene period. This roof falling layer, around 14,000, 13,000 years ago, there was a huge roof falling layer. Because of that layer, the layers right under this roof falling was protected. At the same time, during terminal Pleistocene period, there was huge rainfall. It was identified by Professor Simpson and Nikos. Due to this bad weather, upmost layers totally washed out. So that is why, we have oldest layers, which goes back to 48,000 to 33,000. Then again from 13,000 onwards, layers were available. When it was raining and erosion happened at that time, everything gone. That is why there is a huge gap within the Fa-Hien. But it was nothing happened Kitulgala or Beli-lena there. That's why we can believe Sri Lankan foragers or our ancestors continuously dwelled rainforest, green canopy. But previously, everybody believed these green canopies are deserts for them. They all the time they refused. But of course, within our research, we proved no, they did not avoid. they adapted to the green canopies.
So the roof fall was around 34,000.
No, those are goes back to 14. Yeah, those are the roof fallings around, of course, around at that time. Above them, totally washed out, which belongs to the 14,000. Yes. Sir?
Have you speculated how many individuals might have been there?
You mean skeletals?
Individual.
I can remember there are 3 childs and 2 or 3 adults, and rest of them are secondary burials. Like, you know, there are 2 different burials. One it is primary burial, the other is secondary burial. Primary burials means we are keeping whole body within the cave itself, but secondary burial mean so the person dying somewhere else, so we are bringing one piece of bone or something as a symbolically bringing and burying at the cave. So we found 5 to 6 secondary burials also.
So the famous skeleton that was found around 2010,
2012.
that was a very famous one.
Hmm.
That ended up to be 12,000 years?
Definitely 10,200 years. So recently Jay came and he gave nice statement. At that time, when we found this skeleton, I was the person who originally and physically was there. I knew how I found it, but some thought, no, this goes back to more than 48,000 or 30,000. So they all gave statements to the newspapers, digital medias, to everywhere. Then suddenly Professor Michael Petralia called me and asked me, Oshan, what is going on? So without investigating, how you guys can say this goes back to 38,000 or 32,000? I didn't say nothing, but so this was the problem happened. So then Jay came, he took the skeleton and he dated. It goes back to 10,200. But of course, I knew, not only me myself, our crew knew, but something cannot control by me myself.
Migration happens, do you theorize
Sorry, ma'am, could you
when the
please?
migration happens from the coastal areas to the tropical areas, do you all generally theorize why it happens? Is there a kind of a hypothesis that you all come up with why this migration? Because I would think coastal areas has more food, there is the sea, the fish, etc.
Yes, ma'am. It is clear because already we know and it is already proved. There are 2 routes when it was happen. One, it is land route, which our species used to go to Europe. The second, they use next to the coast. So that is why, the people who use the coastal route, they are the people who came to Sri Lanka because all the way they used coastal resources.
No, I mean, why do they migrate to the jungle?
Yeah.
What is the reason?
Sorry.
What is the hypothesis for that?
Yeah, that is why. In my thesis, it is quite big topic to talk, but I would say there are few reasons. The first one is climate changes. They settled within the coastal area because of megafauna, protein-rich food, because they all have the tool technology which is good for that fauna. When they are having less food or when they are having environmental problem, they can't see this sort of food or animal within coastal area. This is one thing. And bathymetrical changes, sea level changes. When sea level rising, so they are losing their original lands. And population growing up, then they are having problem with the power and lots of challenges. Because of lots of these sort of reasons, they march towards to the inland.
Can you date the migration inland to around maybe 14,000, 7,000 years ago?
Hmm.
When the sea level went up by 120 meters.
Hmm.
But then quite a lot of the coast area would have got covered,
Yeah.
especially the landscape between India and Sri Lanka.
Hmm.
So could it have been that when the sea started rising by fair amount, it would have got migrated up into the inland?
So I explained in my PhD thesis also, very how can I say, like widely about this. It is clear, like since 200,000 itself, it is rising and moving down. So based on this information, they had lots of problems and they marched towards to the rainforest region. So this is the main problem within the coastal area. But some of the areas, when we are focusing to the Bundala Patirajawala or Minihagalkanta, those areas, these are the only available information which belongs to Middle Paleolithic area. So recently I checked with these areas quite higher positions focusing to the landscape basis. So that is why we have these small sites, otherwise most of the areas totally gone. Personally, I believe if it is linked India and Sri Lanka, 100 kilometers wide bridge, so definitely our land expand until to the maybe Maldives area or close, maybe nearby, I do not know. We have to do some bathymetric identification.
The contour,
Sure.
the continental shelf is 120 meters will cover, but it won't go as far as Maldives, I think, very close by.
Sure, thank you.
It was, I think, very interesting discussion. I think we are very much interested to know our ancestry. So probably we might be happy to lose to Zimbabwe because it's our ancestors. Now we understand. And also I think South Africa doing well in the match. So we can say it's, though we lose, our ancestors are doing well over our relations. So I think we have time to discuss informally outside, but before that I need to appreciate and thank Dr. Oshan Wedage for doing this very interesting, informative lecture. It's new knowledge, as I told you earlier, because what we were knowing probably about prehistory, it's I think a grey area. It was a grey area, but now this kind of research will throw new light, give new understanding to us, and probably new publications will come. And I think it will be very, very interesting and will give new insights not only to the people in this country but also at the global level. To going back to this 46,000, I think in India, what is the latest, the oldest?
This is also really interesting because all the time they have a small competition with us. So when I was studying as a master's student, I studied under the Professor Sheila Mishra. She is one of pioneer scholar within our context. She said, Oshan, I can't believe your Sri Lankan microlithic tradition. I can't believe Dr. Darinagala, how it can be happened around 20,000 years old. No, it cannot be. It's definitely under 40,000. So anyhow, we published and they gave me a first class pass when I was there. And so when I returned to Sri Lanka, I again revisited Fa-Hien and I updated Fa-Hien cave until 48,000. when I went back to Max Planck, I realized they also identified microlithics which goes back to 40,000. I was so happy because now they are believing Mesolithic goes back to 40,000. It's mean pretty close to our time period. I was happy because I know they published around 40,000. Our paper is going to be Fa-Hien. At that time, Fa-Hien was not published. Our nature communication going to be 48,000. So then still we are the leading microlithics and rainforest dwellers within our context.
Thank you very much, Dr. Oshan. I know he was very busy and he was during past few weeks also outside Colombo doing his work in different parts of the country. So on behalf of National Trust, we wish to thank him for coming and delivering this excellent lecture, and thank also Professor Mandavala for arranging this and organizing this. Then I would like to request Professor Mandavala to give him a token of appreciation, the publication of National Trust. To make a request to take the National Trust membership outside the desk, outside the hall you have the desk, and you can take the membership if you are not a member now, or renew your membership, because we are trying to organize a few tours. The members will get a discounted rate, and also for the publications. We are trying to go to Yapahu. Earlier we were thinking, Professor Manodu is here, trying to go there on a 2-day visit, but we don't have hotels or vacant hotels because all of them are booked because of the tourist season. So probably it has to be a 1-day visit, and maybe after that a 2-day visit to Polonnaruwa in April or May, the Yapo visit, and after that a visit to Polonnaruwa. So would like to request you to take the membership, life or annual, and also those who have taken membership to renew their membership in the desk outside. So once again, thank you for being here, and we have refreshments outside the hall. Thank you.